I know a bunch of people were working ahead and, you know, asking questions and things. We'll get to those today. Okay. Okay, Gigi, I saw you already rolled. Who's next? Really? What? You were called on all the time. What did we do yesterday? What did we do yesterday? Yeah. Oh, you're good. Okay, so we were solving equations all yesterday, and that's the whole packet. I guess probably the more detailed question is, do you remember how we solved the equations?
DBU, distribute, combine, undo,
Whoa, back up. What did you say?
DCBU,
Never heard that. Distribute, combine.
combine, balance, undo.
It's not bad. Where did you go to learn that one? Okay. What'd you have last year? Okay. I wasn't trying to like embarrass you. So what I was looking for, but what you answered was like everything. I was looking for, yesterday we did the opposite. Now, where that can be confusing, the opposite only works when you're trying to move something. So if I go back here, we used the word cancel yesterday, but basically what we were doing is we were moving this number here to the other side. We moved it as the opposite. But if you want to move something to the other side, that's what you do the opposite for. So today, the beginning of our problems, we don't want to do that, okay? I've got 5x plus 10 minus 2x equals 40. And this 5x and the 2x, they can go together. They're both x's. And they're on the same side. So I'm not moving anything to the opposite side. And so the most common error I run into on this is somebody will try to do the opposite. And I get it. The opposite is for when you're trying to move something. So this 5x and 2x are on the same side. We just put them together. Who's going to help me put them together? 32. Who's 32? Oh, you know what? I don't know why I never thought of this before. I'll put you in charge of that. 32. Maddie apparently did not volunteer this info. Maddie. Headphones? Oh, look at you just trying to ignore and pretend it didn't happen. You were listening to music while I was teaching.
I took it out.
It's like stabbing me right in the heart. I like how you say okay, like, okay, next. How do I put together the 5x and the 2x?
Subtract 2x from 5.
Okay, and you're subtracting just because the minus is there, and since they're on the same side, you just do what it says. So that becomes, that's what I was kind of hoping for. 3x, okay, so you just do the numbers in the front. So 5 of the x's minus 2 of the x's. I'm just gonna write 3 instead of writing both of them. This is still plus 10. It doesn't affect that 10 at all. It doesn't affect the 40 at all. That's gonna be the hardest step on this page, to be honest. I mean, like this page isn't necessarily much different at all than the first page, other than that step. Everything else should be the same. So I'm guessing from here on out, it should feel pretty familiar since we did a lot of them yesterday. So I'm hoping whoever gets rolled next can kind of just guide me to the rest of the problem, like to the end. And if not, I'll help you, whatever. Uh-oh, first 15. 6. 6.
You minus the 10?
minus the 10. You got called on yesterday too, didn't you? I'm starting to feel like these are like weighted or something, like somebody who didn't want to be called on came and like sprayed glue on them or something to make them heavier.
And then 3x equals 30.
Okay, good.
And then 30 divided by 3.
Okay, so divide 3 on both sides. I mean, what you're saying is kind of right. I'm hoping what you would write is divide 3 on both sides. Okay, do you want to keep going? Do you want somebody else to go?
Somebody else.
Oh, okay. This person's just going to tell me, how do we know if that answer's right?
26.
How do we know if that answer's right?
Put it back into the equation instead of the x.
Perfect. If, you don't have to write this down if you don't want at all. This is just kind of something to do in your head. You're more than welcome to write it down though. Like, I'm not trying to tell you you shouldn't or can't. 5 times 10 would be 50, plus 10, 60, minus 2 times 10, which would be 20. So 60 minus 20, 40. Perfect. Okay, we'll do another one together. And then we're gonna go on to the next page. Ooh. I'm actually impressed that you haven't lost one so far. 14, who's 14? Is that Mahalia? Are you 14?
No.
Okay. Oh, you covered up your number because you didn't want to know. Okay, that's actually not a bad idea. Trying to avoid your responsibilities. That sounds like an adult move.
X equals 8. Oh, wait.
What are you telling me?
The answer?
X equals 8?
Oh.
You looked at that and then you just got this? I feel like we're missing something in between.
Oh,
Did you do this problem ahead of time and you were just reading your answer? I see. Okay, how did you get to that answer? That would be helpful.
You subtract 2 from 6x.
Okay, we are just putting these together because they're on the same side.
4x
Mhm.
plus 10.
Good, good, perfect.
Then you minus 10 from 42.
Okay, mine's 10 from both sides. We're trying to cancel that 10 or move it.
Then you divide 4 from both sides.
Perfect. Somehow, you just like predicted that. Or you're kind of a savant where you can just look at a problem and know the answer. Which is kind of nice, but also, you know, not great when I'm trying to correct something. Okay, good job. How do you feel on these? Do you feel like we should do some more together? Should I have you guys try one on your own, or should we move to the next part? Try one on your own, sure. Take a minute, do number 3. That one could be a little bit harder because the regular X is like, you know, can be confusing. See, what's worse is if you spin this thing too fast, it throws in this direction. That's what happens when you only spend $10 on Amazon. They don't get a very good one. So you roll it. What did you roll?
28.
Oh, I thought you said you. 28. Just trying to remember. Okay, Yamazin, did you finish it? I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to rush you. Yeah, you did? Okay, what did you get? Let's just write the answer for everybody, see how they're doing from that.
Number 3.
question number 3, what's the answer?
Is it one?
I don't know, that's what I was asking you.
I got one.
Okay, that's a better answer. When you answer something, you shouldn't ask, is it this? Because that's just asking me a question. You said, I got 1. Did anybody else get 1? Uh-oh, did you check it, Yazin? No. Okay, let's check it. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 20, that's 22. Minus 1 would be 21. That is not 60. So my guess is something went a little bit wrong in there. Maybe it's just adding or subtracting, something easy. Okay? Do you want me to go to somebody else, or do you want me to kind of help you through the problem?
Someone else.
Okay, that's fine with me. All right, I have somebody else who's raising their hand, it looks like? I didn't really look. 22. You look worried, like you're calling on yourself. They're gone. Actually, nobody said this. 4? Ahmed, what did you get? As long as you don't say 1, we're good. Okay, you didn't say 1. I wasn't expecting that one, but you didn't say 1. Should we work through the problem together? Okay, excellent. First step, 2x minus 1x. No, there's no number, it's a 1. So 2 minus 1, we get 1. The plus 20, nothing happens to it. Do you want some guidance from here? Okay, that's fine. I was giving you a chance to answer. I didn't know if you were. Okay, so I'm trying to get the x all by itself. The 1 is directly on the x, so that's like the last thing I deal with. So I'm gonna get rid of 20 to remember how to cancel a number. Okay, so do the opposite, so minus 20. The good thing is it's the same steps on a lot of these problems. So then we have 1x equals 40. Now technically it can be just done here because 1x is x. But otherwise, I'm positive some people divided by 1. And hopefully that's what you're getting at. Does somebody want me to explain one of these steps? If there was definitely some confusion at the beginning, it might be because of that x. Like I bet some people did 2x minus x and just got rid of the letters. And I'm not gonna call those people out, but I know I've seen that quite often. And then from there, it's kinda hard to finish, because there's no letters. Okay, let's go to the next page, which is, I've never heard the term boulder problems. I know Mr. Caponegri wrote this page, he calls them boulder problems. These are problems that have letters on both sides. Okay? Now, I can start from the beginning. So anybody thinks they can kind of just tell us what to do? I bet some people just remembered how to do this. Yeah, go ahead if you want, yeah.
You write down 11 plus 2p and then you distribute.
Say it again, you write down 11 plus 2p.
Yeah, and then you distribute because there's parentheses. Because you have to write the parentheses.
Like around 11 plus 2p?
No, around p plus 4.
I'm gonna write this down because I'm curious where you're going with it. So like this,
Yeah.
okay?
And then you multiply, like you add a 1 in front of parentheses.
Nothing you're doing is wrong, I just don't know why you're doing it. That's why I'm curious, I wanna hear it.
And then you
Multiply out to 1,
Yeah.
did you do that so that there was a 1 in front of the p?
Yeah.
Got it.
No, because I was like.
Okay. There was nothing wrong with what you did, I was just very curious, like I'm gonna guess that was that acronym you used before? Okay. This line right here is the same line that we started with. So, I'm gonna guess the main reason that you did that, 1. Yeah. If you ever have a letter by itself, you are always welcome to just put a 1 on it. And that may make it easier for your brain to do the steps. So whenever there's a single letter, you can always put a 1. 24. No, that's back. I'm reading this upside down. Mason?
Yeah.
When we're done with the problem, what should it look like? Not the actual answer, but what should it say when we're done with the problem? What would the last line look like?
Oh,
There isn't a last line yet. I was just saying, what should it look like? You keep looking at your paper, but there's nothing on your paper.
well, mine says P equals -7.
How come you got a paper with the answers on it? I don't even have a paper with the answers on it. So yours says this.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to ask was, what should the end of the problem look like? And it should say P equals. That's kind of what I was getting at, but what you said is fine. We'll double check if that's right. Okay? Now the reason I bring this up is because currently we've got numbers and letters on both sides. And for an equation, it's not super helpful. Is the way that you guys did this last year, did you guys choose a side that should have letters, choose a side that should have numbers? Or maybe your teachers always just told you to put the letters on the left?
Depending on which one was smaller.
Depending on which one is smaller. Oh, is that what a lot of you did? Okay, I'll do that. I don't care how I teach this, I'll just kind of teach it how you're familiar with, because that'll make it easier. So you guys picked the smaller number, like the 1 is smaller, and so that's the one you would move or cancel. I'll do that. Okay, but my goal is I need letters and numbers on opposite sides. So I'm gonna cancel 1P from both sides, or move it. Okay? So we've got 11. Mason, can you please stop passing the packets around to look at the problems that are already done? Because we're doing them together. You have zero reason to rush. You get time today and tomorrow to work on it. There's no reason to rush at all. Mason, what happens when I have 2P minus 1P? Quit looking at your paper.
You add the P to the 2P,
Okay, how come?
because it's smaller.
I guess I was wondering where the add came from. You keep looking at what you wrote down.
Yeah.
What? Look at what I'm writing.
I don't know, I didn't do it like that.
Did yours say 3P next?
No. I said P.
All right, I'll call on somebody else. But maybe do this one too. Like write this one down as well. If it's, especially if it's different than the way you did it. Okay, 3. No. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Oh, I was way wrong. Ruby? Ruby. What should I write after the 11? 3P, okay, how come?
Because, you have to add it, because before the 2 it has a plus sign.
Oh, I got you. So the plus sign before the 2 kind of almost stands for positive 2. So rather than adding, we're gonna do positive 2 and negative 1. And so if we put positive 2 and negative 1 together, we would end up with positive 1. How about on the right-hand side? What's the only thing left? 4, good. Okay? You wanna keep going?
Sure.
Okay?
You have to get the variable by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to subtract the
Okay, good.
And then the 11 cancels out, so it'd be 1p equals -7.
Good. And then I don't know if you would divide by 1 or not, but yeah, it still works. Now, without throwing out any names, since I see a whole lot of packets just being passed around between people, you guys realize copying down other people's work is useless. I'm not worried about homework. All I care about is that your homework is completed, right? And some of you are just trying to skip the work already. We're in the second week of the school year. This is the work from last year. And if you just kind of skip the homework now, your test is not gonna go well. Like, I don't understand how that correlation doesn't go together. You should understand that if you have to copy the homework, your test is gonna be garbage. And then you're gonna act all shocked. Why did I do so bad? I need to do a retake. And then your whole goal is to just sit there and try to pretend like you wanna try to copy, figure out the answers that are gonna be on the retake, which it's a total different test. Don't spend your year like sitting there trying to copy other people. It is literally the worst possible way to try to learn anything. And if your goal is just to get a decent grade, you have a much better chance of just trying things on your own. Even if it's more work, which I realize is probably the reason why you think copying is less work. You're going to do worse. I do not have much sympathy for people who don't even try. I will do anything and everything to help the person who's trying, even if they're struggling. Don't sit there and just try to blow it off like, because you guys gotta still make it through geometry and algebra 2. It is awfully hard to fake your way through geometry and algebra 2. So, just a thought. Okay. Time-wise, I would like to move on. I realize I would like to do more examples, but I also know that even the people who were working ahead got to the next page and instantly didn't know what to do. Because I don't believe you had any of these last year. And so that's why a lot of people felt very confused once they hit this page. Does that feel true? Do you guys remember these at all? Okay.
Twenty-three.
23. Yeah, this is so hard to read. I'm stupid. Why don't I just turn it around? Okay, Jackson. What are we trying to solve for on this page?
X.
X. How did you know that? It says so right there. Good. You read the directions. That was kind of the point of yesterday. Okay. There is a lot of letters on this page that aren't X. Do we care about those letters?
No.
No. We don't care one bit about what the answer looks like. You are not going to get a number answer. That's why some people absolutely hate these. I get it. Theoretically, these are easier. Because the problems that have number answers, you actually have to do like calculations and arithmetic. This one you do not. Okay, so if we're trying to solve for X, at the end of the problem, what should it look like?
Equal to X.
X equals, right, or equals X. Okay, good. I don't care what the answer is. I just wanted to say X equals because that's what I was asked to do. So currently, I'm looking on the left-hand side of this equation, and it says X minus H. I want to get the X by itself, so my goal is to get rid of anything that is not an X. You did perfect. 21. Emerson. So, if you got called on earlier in the hour, that's always better. Emerson minus H. I don't want it there. How do I cancel off minus something?
You add.
Okay, so I'm going to add what?
H.
H. not a number, stands for a number, but it's not a number, but it cancels it. Do you wanna keep going, or do you want somebody else to answer that?
Yeah, I'm done.
That's fine, I wasn't sure if this looked difficult or not. 9. Just say it. Do you know how to write the answer? Should I just start with that? Close. PH would mean P times H. How do we write two things being added? Perfect. P plus H. We can't put them together because of different letters. And so we just write down what we're trying to do. P plus H. We don't know what the answer is, so that's what we write. This is the answer to the problem. As long as when you get to the end it says x equals, we're correct, we're good. Let's go harder. 25? Ella, should we do 4? Does that one look doable? Okay. Do you have any thoughts on how to start 4? Okay, good. Good. The y is directly on the x, so we get rid of that last. Just like if it said 5x, we would get rid of the 5 last. So you add the 5 first. It's an actual number, but we can't add k and 5. Do you know how to write it out? Okay. Does anybody know what I should write on the right-hand side? 5k would mean, and I'm not timing, I'm multiplying. Okay, k plus 5. If you're trying to add two things and they don't, if they're not compatible, you just write them next to each other. It feels weird, it feels wrong. It's like writing 3 plus 2. Like it feels like you should never write that, you should write 5. But these, we don't know what they are, so we just write what it should be. That was my next one. 31. Addie? Are we done? No, how come?
Maybe,
Oh, oh. You were so confident at first. Back up. It is great to help your friend. But you were so confident at first when you said no, and then you said maybe. Was it because of the way I answered?
maybe.
Have confidence in yourself. We weren't done. We definitely were not done. Ella was correct.
5.
Okay, how come we are dividing by y? But it is right. Just throwing that out there?
Yeah.
That's okay. Ella, do you mind if I just ask you, since you can help you out? Why are you dividing by y? Okay, so if it's attached to the x, that means times. When the two letters are written next to each other, that's times. And so the opposite would be divide. So we're gonna divide by y to cancel it out. Oh, I suppose we haven't done this before. I'm dividing the whole side. So I just write a divide on the whole thing. If you want, you could put a parentheses and then the old school division symbol, that's correct too. But if you're dividing, it has to be on the whole thing. So you can write k plus 5 on the top, divided by y, or if you like writing divide with the, I don't know, divide symbol, I guess, you would have to make sure to put k plus 5 in parentheses, like that. Both of those say the same thing. I don't know if anybody, I don't know if I remember anybody here writing it like that, with that symbol. Has it been a long time since you guys wrote that symbol? Okay, I would prefer this one, but, I mean, that's still right. That was good, Ella, that was very good. You guys probably want me to pick a harder one and go with you on that one too? Sure. What do you guys feel like looks the hardest on this page? Let's just do that one. Probably one of those 3. 9? Sure. 9 sounds good. What do you guys usually do with the parentheses? Multiply it out. That's kind of what most people did yesterday on that first one. So that would work on it. Okay, so 9. I am solving for x, and there's a lot of things on x. Well, my goal is to get rid of the 9, the 3, and the 2. Just kind of have to figure out what order. Well, the 2 is on all of them. So the 2 is what I have to get rid of first because it's on all of them. So I'm going to get rid of it in that order, I guess. So 9 plus 3x equals, I'm not going to care how you write this. You can write b times 2, you can write b2, or you can write 2b. They're all right, they're all the same thing. How would you guys probably write this? B, just like that? Sure, I'll leave it. Okay, now I've got 9 plus 3x. I'm just gonna pretend that's a number because I'm gonna solve the left-hand side the same way I would on the previous pages. So I would get rid of the 9 for, I should probably move this up. I'm gonna get rid of the 9 first. And again, I'm just gonna kinda ignore that side because I don't care what the answer is, I'm just trying to figure out the right order. And then I can't put any of that together, so I just write it what I'm doing. B times 2 minus 9. And I think you're pretty good on the last step, it's supposed to be divided by 3. Divide the whole side by 3. And that would be the answer. That's definitely gonna be as hard as you run into. Honestly, don't stress about these. These are the first time you're seeing them, so it's kind of like introducing you to them. Second time you see something like next year, you're supposed to be pretty good at it. The third time you see it in Algebra 2, you're supposed to be really good at it. That's kind of how math does things. They show it to you 3 times. First time you learn something, you're just sort of figuring it out. You might make mistakes, that's okay. Second time, you get pretty good at it. You sort of start understanding how to do it on your own. Third time, you're supposed to be like a pro. So like for us, you guys pretty much were pros on page number 1 in this packet, trying to do the opposite, because you've done it quite a few times. This is first time. We get down to 15. I really didn't give you much for work time, did I? And we haven't even done the last page yet. Let's do one of these, and then we'll quit. And then I'll think about the test, because I want you to have time in class to be able to work and finish things and be able to ask questions. I know you get time tomorrow. I just don't know how much time, because I have zero idea how long digital systems takes. Using the digits 1 through 9 at most 1 time each. Okay? These are 2 separate problems, FYI. It says fill in the boxes to create 2 equations, one where x has a positive answer and one where x has a negative answer. Should we just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, see if it works? That's how these problems go. You kind of guess. You kind of guess, and then you figure out what you did wrong and change the numbers if you need to. Okay, over here, I would subtract 2, and I would get 1x equals 1, divide by 1, and I get 1. So that one worked. I got a positive answer. That one's not going to work. And I don't care about decimals are fine. I don't care if I get a decimal. if I subtract 5 from both sides, I'm not gonna get a negative answer. Because 6 minus 5 is 1. So can anybody think what I could do like really quickly to finish this problem, but I don't care what the answer is?
You could change the 6 to a -6.
No, not a bad thought. Your answer is absolutely correct. The reason that that wouldn't work is can't put in a negative number.
Change the 5 to a 7.
Oh, yeah, that works too. I was just gonna say swap the 5 and 6. But 100% you're right, you can just make that number bigger. I like that answer. I was just gonna say swap the two numbers. All that mattered was that this number was bigger. It's really all that mattered. Okay, that's how these problems kind of go. You try numbers and figure out if it works or not, and if it didn't work, figure out how to make it work. And each one of them has, I think, a little bit different setup. Because I think the ones at the bottom let you use negative numbers. Or not. 1 through 9, 2 times each. Nope. Okay, all of them on this page, 1 through 9. Okay, we've got a good 3 minutes to work, which I realize is not a thing. It's gonna take 3 minutes for us to put our stuff, yes, go ahead. Oh, okay. It's gonna take 3 minutes probably to put our stuff away and get our phones. You guys did fantastic today, that was a long hour.